Good afternoon, nerds. I am going to write my own text editor. I'm going to be writing it in Odin. Oh, we don't want to explore, we want editor. There we go, that'll build all the things in our source folder. We're going to want call format. And then we'll call format.print line. We'll run that. We should get our editor, and if we run our editor, get our text. Rightio. So it's going to be a graphical editor, and we're going to be using Raylib. If you're looking at Odin, as well as getting your core library. When you download the compiler, you also get a bunch of bindings for all these libraries here. Right? There's a lot of graphic stuff. You got Raylib, SDL. STB stuff, Vulkan, WebGPU, OpenGL, DirectX stuff for Windows, Metal. So Raylib's actually, we already have it. Right. So we can just go import it, and we can start calling Raylib functions. Odin doesn't have while loops. So we use for loops. And we'll draw a rectangle, a blue rectangle. If we run that, we get our blue rectangle in our window. Right. The way this editor is going to work is you're going to start on this screen here. We're going to have a explorer, right? And navigate through files. We're going to have a path up the top. Maybe we have file A, folder A, folder B, file B, file C. So we're going to list all the files we find in that directory, and you're going to explore through your files on your disk using your arrow keys. Right. We're going to have a little rectangle. It's going to be sort of our cursor or our explorer. If you go down, cursor moves down. Go up, cursor moves up. If you're at the top and we try and move up, we'll wrap back around to the end. If you're at the bottom and try and move down, we're going to wrap back to the top. Forwards, we'll open the current file or folder at the cursor. And back we'll just dot dot, right? So we go up a directory. So we just go back up. So if we're over a directory, if we're over like folder B, and we press right arrow, then we're going to go into folder B, and then we're going to update all our files. If we're over a file, like file B, we're going to open the file up here. It's going to be your list of buffers. Okay. We're going to open file B. There's a buffer, okay? And maybe you've got some other buffers in here. Maybe file C is open here as well. And maybe you've got an unnamed buffer. That doesn't correspond to an actual file, but maybe you can write that back out to the disk. And then you can select which file you want to edit in the editor window, right? Maybe I open file B in the editor. So we've got open buffers. We've got an explorer to open files as buffers, and then you can save your buffers back as files. And then you can edit your text in the editor like normal. This is going to be two different screens because normally in an editor you sort of have your file tree on the left and you got your text like over here taking up most of the screen, right? But if you got your text open and you don't really care about what files you got in your tree, And if you're trying to like navigate files, then you don't really care about what text you got open over here. They don't really need to be on the same screen. So we're not going to do that. Alright, we're going to have the text here. Then you can swap your buffers and your files and stuff over here. So today, we're doing this. So I'm going to start with seeing what data we need to store. That's always a good spot to start. So for our Explorer, we need a path, which is going to be like a string. And we're going to have a list of files. Right, and so we're going to get the path. And we're going to list all the files in this path. So we'll say an Explorer has a path, and we'll say it's got some files. We'll store the file count, and we'll store we'll store the index that we're hovering over. That's going to start from 0. We need to be able to supply a path and open all of the files in that directory, right? In core OS, we have this file info, right? Which stores information about a file. You got full path, you got name, right? These are strings. They're allocated, they're actually the same string, and these are just pointers into the string. And then we have this read directory procedure. You give it a file handle and it'll give you back a slice of those file infos, right? So we're going to open our path, right? Get a file handle, that folder, pass that handle for that folder into this function, and we're going to get back a slice back of these file infos. And that's what we're going to store in here. So we're going to store a slice to file info. So if we're thinking about the memory, we'll get our Explorer. Got a path. Which is a string. We have our files. Let's do this. Path is a string. Files is a slice. File infos. And then we have our file count and our hover index, right? And we know what those are integers, right? So we got But yeah, so strings in Odin. Pointer and a length, right? What is a slice? Pointer and a length. But also, in the same way that in C, you can, if you got like some pointer, yeah, if we have like an integer pointer called my pointer, right? Then we say, you can say my pointer, and you can index it, right? You can say my integer equals this. You can index a pointer using this. We can index a slice in the same way, right? So we can actually say files 5 if there's 5 entries, okay, and then we'll index into the pointer. But also, we're still the length. The strings are similar to slices, right? It's just a pointer and a length, but the pointer doesn't necessarily have to point to regular memory. You can sort of point to like read-only memory and stuff if it's a string literal. These are just integers, the file count and the hover index. So when we have a file info, why a file info looks. If we have a look at it, there's 2 strings, okay? Uses full path as underlying data, so it actually points to the same string. So we have full path, we have name, and then we have like other constant data that we're not so much worried about. You got a size, you got a mode, which is just unsigned 32-bit integer. You got whether it's a directory or not, we'll use that. That'll be useful for when we're pressing the right arrow key. And you got times, right? So this is all just inline data, they're not pointers and stuff. Unless time is like a pointer. I don't know how times work in Odin. Right, so these strings. Pointers and lengths. And then we've got other data, right? So there's pointers. If we have like C, let's say our file is called file A, right? This is going to point to the start. Our length is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The pointer obviously going to point to the start here, and the length is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They both point to this underlying block of memory that's allocated. Alright. So when we call read directory, what happens is we get back a slice of file infos. Okay. Not just a single one. A slice file infos. Right? Means we're going to be pointing at some array of these file infos here, right? So we're going to have one, and we might have like another, and then we might have another. Let's say there's 3 files in the directory. Right? Again, we have full path, we have name, and then we have other stuff. We have full path, name, and other stuff. Alright. But yeah. This has to get allocated somewhere, right? This has to get allocated somewhere. And this has to get allocated somewhere. We'll say file B. File C. Okay. And obviously this points to the start. This points to the start of the F there. This points to the start. This points to the start of the F there. And obviously this whole block as well is also allocated. So as well as these all being allocated, okay, this whole block of file infos, right, this array of file infos has to get allocated as well. Okay, and what we get back is this little slice pointing at that allocated block, right? That's what we're going to store in our Explorer. So at any time we can look up file 0, okay, or files 0, and that's going to be this first element in the block here, right? Then we can look at its full path, and that'll point us to here, right? That's how we're going to store our info for the files in the folder. Rightio. Let's get started. So we're going to have input, and then we're going to render after our input. So we're going to do our arrow keys. Is key pressed. We look it up. Takes in a keyboard key, and the keyboard key is just an enum. Right. Have here right, left, down, and up. This is forward, backward. And then up and down are going to be slightly different, because we want to detect when we hold them. Okay, there's a function for that. So we'll do whether it's either press the first time, right, which will fire the first time when you first press the key, and then is key pressed, repeat, will fire like 5 times a second if you hold it. Right. So we want up and down. Now these two are easy. Up. And we're going to need an Explorer. Say we have an Explorer. What Explorer we'll worry about setting up later. Explorer dot don't know why we don't have minus minus in Odin. Plus plus, but we don't. If we're going right. There's a function in the OS package called isDirectory that we're not going to use because file infos store it for us. So we're going to index into that. And then we can ask is directory. Yeah, for now, if it's a file, we're just going to go, we're going to print it out that we tried to open the file. So, to start our Explorer, we're going to clone this little string here. We're going to allocate it ourselves, and then we'll pass it a path. We'll give it a path. Because we're going to come to free it, right? When we go into the file, we're going to free the old path, right, and allocate a new path, which is going to be the full path of this. So step 1, set the path. Step 2, we can get all the file info. The files for that path. I remember we need a handle. To do that, we call open. And this os.open actually gives us back 2 values, which is normally fine, but if we look at the source, we actually have to handle that second result. So I'm going to handle it by throwing it out. That's our handle. And then we can go read directory. And then we'll close the handle. And we'll set the hover index to 0. Rightio, that is our Explorer setup to go into a file. Not into a file, to go into a directory. We want to basically do the same thing, but this time we're going to clone the path of the file we're hovering over. Full path. So remember that is, if we're hovering over, if hover index is like 1, okay, that means we're going to index into element 1 of our file info array, right, which is this. Then we're going to get the full path here, and we're going to copy this. We're going to make a new copy of this. Okay, that's stored now, and now we can free all of this, all this, all this. We can free the whole buffer, and then yeah, and then we can use this to open a new array of file infos. Okay, and now this gets repointed to point back to this new path. Rightio. So we're going to clone that. Before we clone that, we're actually going to free the old one. Right. So that's going to free this cloned string here. To free our file info slice. Remember, this is allocated, all those strings are allocated, right? And this buffer here is allocated as well. So to free a single file info, if that was stack allocated and this was allocated, as it always is, you'd pass in the file info into, there's a function called file info delete. Okay, if we look at that, it's just going to call delete on the full path. Okay, I was going to free this for us. Alright. We don't have a stack allocated one. We have an array of them, which is what this is for. So you give it your slice of file infos, right? And it'll loop through them, and it'll call file info delete, freeing each of our strings. Okay, and then because obviously our array is allocated as well, it'll actually free this entire block here, right? You can see that there. So all we've got to do is call this function with our files. The function is called file info slice delete. Rightio. We update the path. Now we've got a copy of the path. We can delete all the file info. Then open using the new path. Update. Files. Update these. Cool. If we press left, we want to do a similar thing. So this time we want to clone. We're actually not going to call clone. We're going to call under this package here, which is more to do with file paths than OS stuff and files and things. There's a function called directory returns all but the last element path, right? So we'll cut the last element off and it'll return the directory. Which is exactly what we need, and it won't actually just return it, it'll actually allocate it. So it'll basically do clone for us. Now instead of strings.clone, we can call file path .directory, and we want the parent directory of the path, but hang on, we already deleted the path, right? But if we allocate it here and we set the explorer path, then we can't free it anymore because this has changed. Right. What we're going to do is we're going to say temp string equals this. Then we can delete. Then we'll set that to temporary. And the rest of this is the same. Cool, so that's all our logic for our arrow keys done. And I think read directory. Gives us back good things, and we have to handle them as well. So we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. Righty guys, now we're gonna render it. Riley is a C library, which means now draw text functions. Add draw text functions. Take in C strings, right? But our strings aren't C strings, they're Odin strings, right? With pointers and lengths instead of just an array of bytes and a pointer. So the way we fix that is we get a string builder going, right? And then we're going to call strings.write string. We want to write into path C string. And we want to write explorer.path. And then we actually have a function called C string, to C string, right? That'll edit the buffer, right, of the string builder. And it'll just stick a 0 on the end. Which is what we want. Okay, then we're going to draw our text. And then we're going to go I think it's called builder destroy. Yeah. Rightio. We're gonna need another string builder. And we want explorer.files i.name. Right. And obviously that's going to go in here. Before each iteration, we're going to have to reset it. Then we can write. And then we can render. We're going to do this. Rightio. So for draw text, so we need to convert this booter to a string. It takes a font size and then a color. These three are untyped, so they'll happily cast without us needing to explicitly cast them. For now, we're just going to do white. Rightio, we want name, not file. Horizontal is going to be the same, but vertical this time is going to be plus I plus 2 times font size, right? If our path is here, and then this distance here is font size. Then we want to do, if this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. We want to start it here, right? This point here is this is our margin horizontal, margin vertical, and then we want to add 2 font sizes. Y. And we want to start from here and then start rendering our file names. Yeah, that should be right. We'll do that. And it's an I32 that this draw text expects, and I here is just an integer which won't happily cast, so we're going to have to cast it explicitly. That's alright though. Rightio. We're going to do exactly the same thing that we're going to do. We'll say 100. And I want to draw a rectangle exposition. Do the same. Y position will be this. Width. So if this is your screen, and we've got some margin here, right? What we're going to do is we're going to go this margin exposition plus half the screen, right? So if this is actually where half the screen is, we got this plus the margin, then we're going to take away the margins, right? And so it's padded the same size here and here. So we've got X, Y, width is going to be screen width. Yeah, it's going to be screen width. Divided by 2, take away margin times 2, and that's horizontal margin. The height will be font size. The color will be like 30. Rightio, let's see if it runs. Please take an extra n parameter, which I believe is just how many files you can open. The maximum number of files that the function can open. Right, so apparently we're cloning nothing. Go back. Whoops. Rightio, so actually, this is actually going to be go back. This is actually going to go forward. We're going to be cloning that. Yeah. Path C string. Oh. So 2C string does the same thing, it just interprets the bytes as a C string. I believe. Can assign value, path C string, type builder to pointer to builder. Radio. So test string must take in the builder, but to C string takes in the address of a builder. Oh. Right, that's because it's not reinterpreting memory, it's adding to the end of the buffer. Right, so we'll just take it out of here then. We'll just call it in the actual procedure. Right, so we go make a string builder, write the string, build text, destroy the string builder, make a string builder, reset the string builder, write our file name to the string builder, cast a C string, radio, and destroy it. And we missed. Radio. Well, we've got the colours messed up the wrong way around. Radio. So if we try and go into our project folder, we can see it. We open up our command prompt and we try and open our file. Nothing happens, but we should get tried to open file main.odin. If we try and go back, we should go back. If we try and go back from the C drive, it doesn't work, but it does reset our thing because we don't actually check for it. I think the read directory or just the directory function, right? The file path directory function. Try and go back. This one. If you call this with just the C drive, it won't give you anything back except the C drive. So that's fine for now. The last thing I want to do before we finish is get a font loaded. The font I want to use, I actually already have here. It's Rajani, right? This one here. Re-downloaded it when I was setting up Windows. Now, because we're calling Odin run, it actually invokes it. Here, right. We're actually invoking the editor from this directory here, which means if we try and load a font using a string, going to be relative to this directory, not the executables directory, which is a bit strange. But for now, we're just going to do the absolute path. So load font extended, we want this, we want double slashes. Because otherwise they'll get treated as escape segments. Also we want font size. We want load font extended. File name, font size, code points, code point count. You can use null for code points and 0 for code point count. Odin doesn't have null, but we're going to use nil. Right. That should load our font into Rajani font, and now when we render, we're going to use draw text extended, because that lets us use a font. Text in the font, then the text. The position this time is going to be 2 FV2s. Font size is going to be FV2. That's fine, that'll cast. Spacing, FV2, and color. Radio, so. We need that. That's the same. This time is going to be that. We're going to do font size, which is FV2, that's fine, that'll cast. 0 for spacing, that's fine. And we did not get our font. Because we actually have to load the font. Rightio. That's our very basic Explorer working. What we'll do before we finish is steal the colours from my Sublime colour scheme. I think I'll put it in here. Right, yeah, we want That path. We have our rectangle, which will do our highlight color. We have our hovered file, which will do color of the carrot. And we have we could do regular. This will probably all change later anyway, but we'll do this. Or we can do that's a bit dark. Rightio. And we'll say, if you want to use enter, you can use enter as well. Rightio. That's about it. See you, nerds.